There have been a lot of Star Wars video games released over the years, some better than others. The early to mid 2000s alone saw an abundance of different Star Wars titles get released, from racing games to adventure games to starfighter games. From among this vast number of Star Wars titles came a game that remains one of the most unique Star Wars experiences found in any video game. That game was Republic Commando, a 2005 first-person shooter from LucasArts that put you in the shoes of a clone commando during the Clone Wars. As the leader of the elite unit known as Delta Squad, it's up to you to coordinate your team to carry out various objectives and secure victory for the Republic. One of the most interesting things about this game is that it's one of only two pure single-player first-person shooters found within the Star Wars universe, with the other being a game in the Jedi Knight series called Dark Forces. While you can technically use guns in the other Jedi Knight games, you'll probably be using your lightsaber and force powers most of the time. Republic Commando has no Jedi and no force powers. It also isn't multiplayer focused like the Battlefront series, though it did technically have a multiplayer mode back in the day. It was simply a solid single-player first-person shooter that made you feel what it was like to fight as a clone during the Clone Wars. I have a lot of fond memories of this game and would definitely rank it up there as one of the better Star Wars titles. But does it still hold up in 2021? With the game coming to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch next month, I thought it was the perfect time to revisit this classic Star Wars title and see if it was still worth playing 16 years after releasing. It's been over a decade since I last fought beside the commandos of Delta Squad, and I was very excited to return to a game I've had a lot of great times with. So whether you're interested in playing this game for the first time or whether you're a curious veteran, I'm going to cover the basics of Republic Commando and tell you whether I think it's still worth your time in 2021. Like I said earlier, Republic Commando is a single-player first-person shooter that takes place during the Clone Wars. The game consists of a series of missions set across 3 different areas that see you take on the Separatist army in covert operations. You play as the leader of Delta Squad, an elite unit of clone commandos that have been specially trained to be lethal killing machines. You're supposed to be superior to the average clone, and meant to work in small units to take on impossible missions. The game starts during the Battle of Geonosis that takes place during Attack of the Clones. Instead of fighting on the front lines, Delta Squad is deployed behind enemy lines and tasked with sabotaging the enemy. Since you are essentially a super soldier, you've been given state-of-the-art equipment designed to make you a one-man army. Your Kataran armor comes with its own shield system that regenerates after avoiding damage for a short time. Your main weapon is a DC-17 blaster rifle, which is effective for taking out most types of enemies. It comes with 3 different modes: the basic automatic firing mode, a sniper mode, and an anti-armor mode. It's a very versatile weapon that allows you to adapt to whatever the situation calls for. You also have a melee ability and 3 different visor modes: a normal visor, a tactical visor that gives you additional HUD information, and a night vision visor. Finally, you're given a basic blaster pistol that is weaker than your main rifle, but it never runs out of ammo. You'll also come across other weapons that you can pick up and use as a secondary weapon, like a Wookiee bowcaster and a Trandoshan shotgun. Ammo for these weapons and for your main weapon can be found in many of the areas you travel through, as well as different types of grenades. While you are equipped to be a one-man army, you're not alone on the battlefield. As the leader of Delta Squad, it's up to you to coordinate your teammates to take down enemies and accomplish the game's objectives. While those objectives do change throughout the game, they all essentially boil down to either hacking a system or blowing something up. Your squad consists of 3 members other than yourself, each of whom specialize in different areas of expertise. First there's Sev, a gruff tough guy with a thirst for battle and a knack for sniping.
Damn droids. Let us through.
Then there's Fixer, the squad's hacking specialist. I describe him as a by-the-book soldier who doesn't mess around and tries to keep everyone on task.
6-2, could you can the chatter until you've got something useful to say?
Finally, there's Scorch, the team's demolitions expert. He's constantly cracking jokes and trying to lighten the mood, which results in some amusing banter with Sev and Fixer.
You hear that, Sev? Someone thinks I'm excellent.
Well, at least that makes 2 of you.
While each of your squad mates technically specializes in something different, they are all capable of doing anything you need them to. For example, if you need to blow something up, Sev and Fixer can also get the job done, so their specializations don't actually impact the gameplay. It's also possible to coordinate Delta Squad beyond just completing objectives. As leader, you have a menu of tactical maneuvers you can use to change the behavior of your teammates. The default option is Search and Destroy, where each commando sort of does their own thing, attacking their own targets and advancing on their own. The second option, and my personal default option, is Form Up, where the squad stays close to you at all times. They still attack their own targets, but they don't wander off on their own. The third option is Secure Area, which tells your teammates to defend a specific spot. The last option is Cancel Maneuver, which tells the rest of Delta Squad to stop whatever they're doing and resume their previous command. That means that if someone is arming an explosive or hacking into a system, you can tell them to stop without individually going up to them and canceling the command. This option is also useful when your teammates are assigned to tactical positions. Many areas in the game have these tactical positions where Delta Squad can utilize specific weapons. These include a sniping position, a grenade throwing position, and an anti-armor position. Instead of canceling these orders one at a time, the cancel maneuver option will tell everyone at once to leave their spots and continue whichever option they were previously told. These tactical positions are very useful during combat, as they allow your teammates to be even more effective than they usually are. The sniping spots in particular are my personal favorite because the AI are ridiculously accurate when they use a sniper. This comes in very handy when fighting against tough to hit opponents like Geonosians. This area in the bottom left of your HUD helps you keep track of the status of your teammates. The icon in the center of each bubble will tell you what their current orders are as well as how much health they have. If their health bar is yellow or orange, you can tell your teammates to heal up at one of the various Bacta stations found throughout each level. These stations will also heal you as well, and I promise you that you'll be visiting them often. Luckily, there is an abundance of these, so you usually won't have trouble finding one to heal up at. If a teammate ever goes down, you can order someone to go and revive them. You basically use a defibrillator to get them back on their feet. One of the really cool things about this feature is that your teammates can actually revive you as well. If you go down, you can tell your squad to come and help you or maintain their current orders. You don't have to restart from your previous save unless all the members of Delta Squad go down at once. The last thing you can do to coordinate your team is something called Engage Target, which tells Delta Squad to focus on a specific enemy. The enemy will be highlighted red and their health bar will show up. This is a very useful feature as it helps you get rid of specific enemies that are giving you trouble, whether it's a far off target that's hard to reach or a super battle droid that's doing a lot of damage. By focusing Delta Squad's firepower on a single target, you get the most out of your teammates. So how does the gameplay actually feel after all this time? Personally, I think it still holds up pretty well. The gunplay is still satisfying to execute, whether you're using your blaster rifle, lobbing grenades, or sniping opponents. Levels are designed for you to make use of cover and other tactical advantages, so you really get that feeling of being a commando. Coordinating Delta Squad is also a very enjoyable aspect of the gameplay. Republic Commando is at its best when you make full use of your squad, which means utilizing the maneuvers and tactical positions as well as using the Engage Target feature. While you can defeat enemies and achieve objectives without coordinating your team, it is significantly harder and, in my opinion, simply less fun. In terms of the missions, they are interesting to play through and tell a decent Star Wars story. Like I said earlier, the objectives of each mission may change, but they all essentially boil down to either hacking a system or blowing something up, which can lead to a bit of repetition. However, you do get to explore 3 distinct environments in Geonosis, an assault ship, and Kashyyyk, and you get to listen to Delta Squad's banter along the way, so you really won't get bored. This game does a great job of giving you a more grounded Star Wars experience, where you get to see what it's like to fight as a soldier. It's a very different experience from what you'll find in a game like Jedi Outcast or The Force Unleashed, where you're this unstoppable force that can take out 10 stormtroopers in a matter of seconds. Instead of running around with a lightsaber and force powers, you're using guns and teamwork to take down opponents and advance through each level. You're taking stock of the terrain to find the best vantage points and the best tactical positions. You're using strategy to find your way through each firefight, and there's something very satisfying in that. Like I said at the start of the video, Republic Commando is one of only 2 pure single-player first-person shooters in the entire Star Wars universe. It gives you a Star Wars experience that you really won't find in any other game. While first-person shooters have definitely gotten better over the last 16 years, Republic Commando is still a solid shooter that still feels good to play today. So if you haven't played Republic Commando before, I strongly encourage you to consider giving it a try, no matter which system you choose to play it on. If you have played the game before and are wondering if it's worth returning to, take it from someone who hadn't played this game in over a decade. Republic Commando is still worth playing in 2021.